I do want to preface the FYE freshman year experience course that you should also be taking as well. Um, I'm being asked to remind the students to try to complete at least 90% or at least get a score of 90. I don't know what that means. I think it's progress, total progress. I don't think it's 90% progress, but just a metric of 90 to complete at least up to that amount for the FYE first freshman year experience on your Brightspace. If you've not already done so, please do that immediately before that counts toward 5% of your final grade. So without further ado, we'll move on to chapter 13, marketing. So marketing is I would say in many cases our perception of how we're um, getting the customer to become educated, to understand about, or to become interested in buying or purchasing a product or service. So marketing is defined, textbook definition. The activity, set of institutions and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings with value for customers, clients, and society at large. Marketing today involves helping the buyer buy through websites, which 25 years ago, that really wasn't something you did too much of, right? But now it's sort of the main way you can buy items. So websites, blogs, social networking, uh, personal relationships, television, news, media, print ads, all ways to market. Marketing is changing and is dynamic. How many of us are associated with being marketed today is very different than how it was 2 decades ago, even a decade ago. It's changing. So there's a certain way how marketing's done. You have influencers and things of that sort. It's tied to sociality, society, culture, value, norms. In 20 years, it'll be different, right? Technology will continue to change 20 years from now. What we are interested in, what we're engaged in, how we deal with each other will change. Since COVID, less people are interacting face to face. Some people maybe want to do more so. I've personally had a lot of clients who used to meet them face to face to do business. Now it's virtual. The same way I'm talking to you is the same way we do business. And they're completely fine with it. And that's due to a very drastic social change due to the pandemic, which sort of changed our social and our society and culture. It also changed our beliefs. You've had people who never use the internet because of technological savvy or a lack of technological savvy or sophistication, and they are forced to learn how to use the internet to conduct business. And now they're like, oh, this is great. And that's how they conduct business. And you'll see that change, that shift, where an older demographic that wasn't tech savvy is now adapted to it. So we might think, oh, there's this radical change or shift in society due to technology or whatever, but it's actually the pandemic that forced the change. So we don't know what can create change, how change can happen. But this change affects marketing. So marketing is different. You know, you had there was a company at one time, they would train people to go into public settings, bars, anywhere social, anywhere where people would talk and communicate. And these people would strike up conversations with random people to pitch their products like it's a casual conversation. Like if you're sitting next to someone, let's say you're at a restaurant or a fast food chain and you're on your phone and someone asks you a question and you answer the question and you guys just strike up a random conversation. Next thing you know, they're telling you how, oh, I just got this thing from so and so. Oh, and they're raving about how great it is. You're like, oh, wow, that sounds cool. And you think it's a genuine testimony because it's some random person that you had a conversation with next to you. But in actuality, that person was a salesperson being paid by a marketing company to market things through word of mouth because of how much more effective personal testimony is. So I don't know how far that went from a professional standpoint, business standpoint, but how we market, how people receive information, how people are convinced to listen to information, right? Which is why people might listen to an influencer because they think the person is, their idol, their friend, someone that's important or interesting, or they're teaching them or learning something from them, or they're like a guru. And if they tell you something, hey, listen to this, then perhaps it's something you want to listen to because of how people are interested. So give me 1 second. So here we have a chart, marketing eras. And this is sort of showing you the evolution of marketing in the US, production, selling, marketing concept, and customer relationship. So you're sort of seeing the timelines. And you'll see the timelines seem shorter from the 20s to the 70s. So there's overlap, but you'll see it's shorter and you'll see there's less overlap. We can assume that technology plays a pretty big role in that, right? So the evolution of marketing. This is talking about the history of marketing, the evolution of marketing. General philosophy was produce as much as you can because there is a limitless market for it, which we know is not really true, right? That's the production era. The selling era. Most companies emphasize selling and advertising in an effort to persuade customers to buy existing products. That's still somewhat true, right? The marketing concept era. So if you look at this chart, it's sort of going over these different eras. The marketing concept era, after World War II, a customer spending boom developed. Businesses knew they needed to be responsive to consumers. They wanted their business. So the marketing concept era is three-part philosophy: customer orientation, service orientation, profit orientation. So there's more. The customer relationship era. CRM is a customer relationship management. It's sometimes used to describe software that's used to manage customer relationships. It's usually for salespeople, sales team, anyone that's client or customer facing, they'll use a CRM. But the CRM is learning as much as possible about customers and doing everything you can to satisfy or exceed their expectation. See, the CRMs now is more managing clients, the sales process, managing the sales process and the sales relationship with clients, being able to track it, organize it, even hand it off to a different salesperson and see notes and see what's going on. That's what it's about. There's rarely any discussion about satisfying or exceeding their expectations, and that is usually sales driven. Organizations seek to simulate long-term customer loyalty. Depends on the product, depends on the service. That's not always the case. Maybe something's a fad product. You get in, you get out. Depends. But I would say for long-term, long-standing businesses that are holistic in their approach, they want those long-term relationships because you get repeat buys, right? Maybe your favorite brand of toilet paper or cereal, there's a cheaper knockoff or something, but you're loyal and you buy it, and those things have an effect. Social networks, online communities, and blogs are used in relationship building. This is very true. A lot of people are online. Social networking. It's why Facebook is worth TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, X now worth billions of dollars. You don't really pay a fee for the services. You can pay some fees, but there's not really any fees because of the marketing, because you could buy stuff, because people could sell you stuff. That's where the money's made. You can go on Facebook with different era people use Facebook predominantly, and scroll and look at stuff, and you'll get blasted with advertisements. And those advertisements are trying to convince you to buy something, right? That's their objective, is to buy something. And if they're not trying to buy you something, they're trying to get your attention to watch something, which then they can to then lead to some sort of sale. Everything's sales driven. That's marketing. So the emerging mobile on-demand marketing era, as digital technology continues to grow, consumer demands are expected to rise in the now. Consumers want to interact anywhere, anytime, which is pretty much your cell phone, right? Because you can pull up and if you can surf online, you can use the internet on your mobile, you can interact anywhere, anytime. The can I, they want to use information in new ways that create value for them. For me, customers expect a personalized experience. So that would be similar to tailoring something to understand your needs and wants. So maybe marketing products you're more likely to be interested in based upon your search history, your interest history, what influencers you follow, who you like, things of that sort. And then consumer is simple. Consumers expect all interactions to be easy. No one wants anything complicated. So nonprofit organizations and marketing. Nonprofit marketing includes fundraising, obtaining resources, promoting their message, attracting new members, creating awareness of social issues, right? Because not-for-profits are usually more goal-driven, organizationally purpose-driven in terms of what they're trying to do. I don't think this should prevent a not-for-profit from trying to sort of run or organize themselves in a business capacity. I do think, though, that not-for-profits in the whole, they could be kind of wasteful, right? You could have 30 different companies all doing the same not-for-profit, all trying to collect money to provide the same service. In this case, sort of direct or indirect competition. They're all sort of reorganizing the same structure, overhead, operational management, administrative staff, all those expenses sort of take separate divergent technologies that are not correlated with each other. And those expenses are reapplied every single time to each individual not-for-profit business. So there's no scale in those businesses that are not technically competing because they're not for profit, maybe some competition, right? They have the same mission goal, the same organizational purpose, but the expenses are being multiplied over and over and over and over because they're all independently run, independently managed, and they're fundraising. And how much of the fundraising really goes to the cause versus administrative costs, operational costs. So they're not always that efficient. Of course, you have exceptions. You have situations where maybe the not-for-profit is focusing on a specific community that's underserviced and, things of that sort. So their marketing objectives are a little different. But what I'm saying, though, is that while their marketing is a little different because they're not selling your product, the reality is you have a company like Newman's Own. If maybe you've seen them in supermarkets, maybe you've seen them in stores, and they sell grocery products, dressing, salad dressing, things of that sort, popcorn, and all the profits go to not-for-profit. So here's an example where the company creates products and services, and none of it is geared or centered on the company creating a profit, but it's geared and centered on not-for-profit activities. But they're engaging directly in for-profit behaviors in not-for-profit activities. So that's important.
I like the channel.
Because I'm going to mute you, okay? So that's not-for-profit activities being engaged in a for-profit activities engaged in not-for-profit organization. And that's interesting because they're engaging in their marketing strategy the same way a for-profit would, but their end result is in taking the profits to give it away. Whereas the example here that's given in the textbook, they're describing how not-for-profit marketing is a little different. Fundraising, right? Fundraising, trying to create resources, because McDonald's isn't going to go to you and say, "Hey, could you give us money so we could give it to our CEOs and our shareholders for no reason?" So McDonald's doesn't fundraise; they sell your product for profit. In McDonald's, where to fundraise is for a not-for-profit purpose. Which, if you go inside of McDonald's, you'll see they have like the Ronald McDonald Fund with for kids, charity for kids, which is a separate organizational aspect of the company. So you have companies that are actually acting as a for-profit entity, but the profits go for a nonprofit cause. So their marketing is different, right? So Newman's Own could do a fundraiser, even though they're engaging in for-profit activity for a not-for-profit cause. Their goal is not to make a profit. So in those situations, not-for-profit companies see themselves in a capacity of not being able to make a profit. So they focus very heavy on fundraising activities. But in actuality, a successful not-for-profit or a business model for not-for-profit should really take in consideration ways they can engage in for-profit activities that benefit the not-for-profit, depending on the market share, and even things you might not think about. For example, you're providing social work activities. You're providing counseling services for free. People pay for that too. So you could have a for-profit arm of your business, which is, you're providing counseling services for a profit. And you have a not-for-profit arm that's funded by the for-profit. So just because you want to provide a not-for-profit service doesn't mean you should not include or consider for-profit activities that can actually support the not-for-profit arm in that capacity. But the point I was making much earlier was that a lot of not-for-profits, they don't really collude with each other positively. They don't share resources. They don't share anything. So there's a lot of doubling up, tripling up, quadrupling up on their expenditures to sustain themselves, where if they had joint scale, they could scale together, leverage resources together, but they don't do that. And that's more of a cultural thing, I think, in terms of American competition, where people don't think that way. But it creates a sense of there's a sense of virtue and justice in a not-for-profit, but in the cultural nature of European empirical capitalism and American independence and entrepreneurship, there is a strong sense of overlap of wasted resources in the not-for-profit space, because they're not competing, but they're reusing shared administrative resources, shared technology resources redundantly over and over to achieve the same goal across independent organizations. It's sort of wasteful. So marketing mix. This is very important. The marketing mix is sort of your like marketing Bible, if you had to think of it that way. What are the 4 things you should be thinking about when marketing? Your product, your price, your place, your promotion. Okay, so you'll see this if you do a business plan. You're kind of working your business plan around your marketing mix. So product, what's your product? Describe your product. And you can go into more details about the product, value proposition, what does it do, who does it benefit, who is it for, your price, your place, where you're selling, your promotion, how you're promoting it. So if you sort of think about a marketing plan, you could just sort of use the 4 P's as a very basic outline to describe your marketing plan, but you have to expand on each of the 4 points. And that's just sort of real talk in terms of strategic marketing, entrepreneurship, business standpoint. So marketing managers must choose how to implement the 4 Ps of the marketing mix. So you have product, price, place, promotion, which we spoke about. So you see here sort of a breakdown. Product. Design a product to meet the needs based on research. You do product testing, so as an example, right? Identify a target market, conduct target research, find opportunities. So this is usually where you begin and you come down through a solution of a finalized product. And they're sort of showing the flow, product, price, right? So, well, how much are you charging? Why are you charging that much? Does that make sense from a profit? Packaging, a consumer, are consumers okay with that price? You might be undercharging. Maybe you should be charging more because people can believe it's a premium. The place of a selected distribution system, uh, storefront, online sales, business to business, however it's going to be, promotion, designing a promotional program, building a relationship with customers, how are you selling it? The why is also important too, even though it's not a part of this marketing process here. Um, when we ask the why toward any question, the why helps us to why am I doing this? Why this? Why this product? Why this price? Why this distribution system? When you answer the why in any of these charts, you can actually expand the chart and get more details. So asking the why to yourself is a very pivotal process in business planning and entrepreneurship because the why helps you to understand the reason for why it is what it is. It also helps to kind of bug out issues as well. Okay, so design a product to meet consumer needs, product, test marketing, brand name, right? Setting an appropriate price. Pricing also is market driven as well. A lot of factors. You might see someone selling a hot dog on the street for, well, I don't know what it is now. Let's just say someone's selling a hot dog on the street for $4, which is crazy for me to think about that in Central Park, a $4 hot dog. And you can go to the grocery store and boil a hot dog and a bun for cents on the dollar. Or you can go to Nathan's and they charge you more. Why? Is it the product? Is it the quality of the product? Is it the place? If you're in the middle of the park, there's nowhere to eat, and you want a hot dog, I guess they can knock you upside your head. Like you're in if you're in what's it called, a movie theater, the prices are out absolutely outrageous inside a movie theater. But where else can you buy popcorn, snacks, right? So it's those are things to think about. Where what should I charge? Well, you go to a baseball game or a football game, basketball game, they charge you like 10 times the price for a product, and you can't sneak it in. They won't let you bring anything in. It's what it is. So your pricing is also there's a lot of factors going to pricing, right? And you don't want to undersell yourself either. So promotion, all the techniques sellers use to inform people and motivate them about their product, right? Advertising, personal selling, public relations, publicity, word of mouth, sales promotions. We can add influencers. We can add other things based upon today's categories, which could fill into sort of publicity, but it's not the same because it's not like it's television or outside. It's the internet, your phone. But it could fall in these categories, right? It's advertising. It's also personal selling too, right? It's not personal, but some people you got OnlyFans where people can join a subscription to a fan of theirs. Yes, some people use OnlyFans for other things, but the original intention for OnlyFans is, you could be a movie star or something, or a football person, or even a smaller, you could be an influencer and have an OnlyFans page, and you could sell direct. You could have more personal relationships with your fans. that could fall under personal selling in a more, maybe more indirect way, a direct way, but indirect way, versus me physically knocking on your door and trying to sell you something, which is that's personal selling, right? So market research is sort of analyzing the environment, the market, consumers' products, the demographics, the psychographics of the customers, the business trends, all that's you do that first, right? You do all this. This is like the preemptive activities when you do marketing to understand how to go about. In some cases, it helps determine your four Ps, right? It's even the product itself. It actually it is the reason why a product may be developed a certain way is based on market research. So this is almost the first thing you do in business is marketing research. That's the very first thing you do. It's not, I got an idea. This is a cool idea. I want to do this or I want to be that. You can have that idea, but you have to do marketing research first. This is the number one thing is marketing research. So this is going over the market research process. It's quantitative, it's qualitative. You're just sort of determining the market, the opportunity, the size of the market, who's interested in what you want, what problem is it solving, which is not necessarily here, but you're looking at what problem it's solving. You're also looking at what pain points that it's solving as well. Secondary data, primary data, this is all research-based information. Primary data is data you gathered yourself. So maybe you spoke to someone on the street and questioned them. Secondary data is maybe data you're reading about in journals, books, online, data someone else found. So if you went on to, let's say, Reddit or Twitter and you did a poll and started talking to people online and you could verify who they are, that would be primary data because you're actually getting the data yourself, right? If you did a poll, you went on the street and spoke to people, that's primary data, okay? Primary data is very important to do. So you analyze marketing data, marketing research process, you're analyzing the data. This is more analytical, more quantitative information, environmental scanning, technological factors, global factors. You would do a PEST, a pest analysis, is one way to sort of look at the overall environmental situation. And these are aspects of the marketing environment, sociocultural, which we spoke about earlier in the class. I just spoke about many of these things here, economic, and you see how they fit into the four Ps, right? So the four Ps are always sort of central to marketing, and you can tie them into how your product ties into competitive, economic, global, technology, sociocultural, how your place ties into it, how your promotion ties to it. So it's a very good chart overlap of thinking about how to break down your marketing. All right, so we spoke about consumer marketing, business to business. B2B is business to business. Marketing segmentation is dividing your market into total groups who have similar characteristics. And then marketing toward those specific groups is a target market. And these are different definitions you want to take into consideration for your product. Psychographic. I mentioned these already. Okay, niche is sort of like a very small, specific group you're targeting to. Small, but profitable because they're gonna if you catch them, they'll buy what you want because it's very specific to what they want. Mass marketing is larger overall marketing. Relationship marketing, I spoke about an example before with that company that was going to bars and places and talking to people directly. But I just want to quickly jump on comparing business to consumer buying behavior. Business to business is different than consumers because they have different psychographics and different goals in mind. So this chart just sort of organizes those differences in mind. And then there's your prospects and marketing, people who you're going to sell to. So class, this sort of finishes our marketing, our marketing review for today. We will be having class again next week. And the following week after, it's chapter 13, by the way, for one of the questions, I will send you another Zoom meeting and we'll talk then. So class is dismissed and everyone have a good day.